My name is Nak Thatch. I am the VP of Marketing at HelloGM, and it's been a pleasure to learn about the platform itself, and even more so of a pleasure, a joy, and an honor to work with Viral here. So without further ado, Viral will proceed with leveraging the RMS, our webinar today.
Thank you, Nok. Thank you, everyone who could make it today. We knew today is going to be challenging, so being so close to Christmas. I appreciate you all for making time for it. So as Nok mentioned, I'm co-founder and CTO at HelloGM. I have 18 years of experience designing and developing software products, as well as managing distributed engineering team. Besides software, I'm also investor in hospitality, and I love to play cricket during summer. So let's have a quick run through today's agenda. We're gonna cover revenue management definition our way. Of course, it is quite rhetoric to ask or say what revenue management means to any hoteliers. But we would like to cover that just because we define it slightly different how we have heard in the market. We'll also share some of the interesting industry facts with you all. We'll cover challenges involved in doing effective revenue management and how we address them in HelloGM. And towards the end, we'll open it up for everybody to ask questions and address their queries about how to do effective HelloGM using HelloGM. So let's start with the first thing here, revenue management. As we said, we defined it slightly different way in HelloGM. So we define revenue management as set of strategies that help increase revenue and maximize profits. Now, some of you might be wondering, we are not using terms like occupancy, ADR, RevPAR here, because we believe like when we focus on maximizing profits and revenue, we eventually achieve all other KPIs. They do usually fall in place whenever we target to maximize our profits using revenue management. Now let me take an opportunity and share some industry facts that we have found while studying the market. We figured out that very small portion of mid-tier hotels actually implement adequate revenue management, because most of the time their target in terms of revenue management is achieving higher occupancy or keeping constant eye on how their competitors are changing their nightly room rates or how their RevPAR looks like, whether it is in line with how it has been historically. But to do adequate revenue management, we require a lot more KPIs to watch for. And some of them are like star report indices, pickup rate, variable cost per occupied room, and obviously other three parameters that we mentioned above. Now, regarding variable cost per occupied room, we already had session on profit and loss last time. So if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to support team on that. But in today's session, we'll not be covering variable cost per occupied room to keep session very focused towards revenue management and other indices that we want to cover today. Now that we know, revenue management requires quite a few KPIs to track, we would like to cover challenges involved in tracking those KPIs. So very first and foremost challenges data aggregation is the most hardest task in this process, because data is all over the place. For example, if we talk about PMS data, we have to have on the books reports, historic performance, how future on the books and forecast looks like. We have to get data from star reports and also have to do scraping of competitor rates multiple times a day. So definitely that process is very time taking. And also many times when data aggregation is done at that scale, it is very error prone, because a lot of manual handling of data happens in doing those kind of tasks. And the third challenge that we have seen is the cost, because most of the product available in the market that does that automates portion of these tasks are pretty expensive. And if those tools are not acquired, doing all this task and analytical processes in-house are also time-taking and expensive. So let me show you how we address this challenge. So very first thing that we do at HelloGM, we do full automation of all data aggregation tasks and analytical steps involved in deriving insights. Once we have that ready, we present them in very simplified graphical user interface to quickly derive insights out of it. And the third thing that we focus mostly on is making it cost effective. So depending on your bundle, you probably already have RMS included in your subscription. And even if it is not included, we always give it out to try first and add it in your bundle at a very, very low cost. So that is always an option available to all our subscribers without RMS model. So without further delay, let's jump on to demo and show you how we exactly do RMS in HelloGM. So let me pull up browser and log in to our demo account here. So first heads up, this is demo account. So a lot of data may not make sense here because everything is made up here. And we have tried our best to represent a real life scenario wherever possible. So assuming that you have access to RMS module in HelloGM, it can be once you log into HelloGM, you will find RMS module link on left-hand side navigation panel. When you click on RMS, first thing that it lands you to is your portfolio level view, where we display all the star indices for all your properties together. This gives you high level idea about how all your properties are working in terms of getting fair market share. For example, if you select Rave Par Index here, it displays you like 4 of your portfolio properties and how they are performing. You will find like 2 are kind of staying around 100 percentile, but 2 are consistently staying under 100 percentile, which means those 2 need some attention and some changes and revision in revenue management strategies. So this is a good view to get high level idea about what all properties need some attention. You can look at daily, weekly, as well as monthly if monthly reports are being forwarded to HelloGM. In any scenario when reports are not being scheduled to come to HelloGM, we display user-friendly message to start scheduling them. And of course, our support team can always help you schedule them. Now, as a revenue manager, I will also keep eye on like how my actual month-to-date data looks like and actual plus OTB. I would also like to compare it with same time last year so that to ensure I am not far out compared to last year, and also we can have variances against the budget. Now, to take any action, this data gives you high level idea about what needs attention, but to derive any strategies, it requires further deeper dive into property level data. So that you can do by clicking on any of the property. Now, what we see here is like data which is very specific to property and indices which are compared at submarket level and comset level. So when I did deeper dive in this property, I can see in terms of my RevPAR index, my property is getting only 73% of the market fair share compared to other competitors in the market and getting only 64% share compared to submarket. You obviously want your fair share not to be left out to your competitors. So what these indices tell you is like, there is further adjustment needed in how existing revenue management strategies are defined. So very first thing after identifying issues I will do is I'll take a look at on the books 365 days. on the books 365 days, it gives me quick snapshot of how my future 365 days are looking like. And whenever I see occupancy is getting higher, like for example, in this scenario, almost about 1.5 months out, 2 days are filling up too fast. Whenever we see this kind of background, orange background, it means like occupancy is already above 70%. And you can notice here, like these 2 days are filling up too fast, but ADR is not that high. So obviously this needs your immediate attention. As a revenue manager, what I will do is I'll note down these 2 days. I'll take a look if there are any discount rates are open or there are any high commission channels that are open. I'll shut those things down. I'll take a look at like what prices are set for nightly rates. I'll definitely do some pricing adjustment to bump it further up to ensure like whatever rooms I have left, I'm not going to sell them out for too low nightly rates. You can also, as a revenue manager, set some of the target dates using our event calendar. Here in the event calendar, we can define like what are the important days of the years ahead of the time. And those days will be marked with red borders to keep them under your radar. If anything is filling up too fast, you can adjust the rates. Or for example, here I can see this is the event date, but my ADR is just 83. So that immediately gets my attention, like I need to adjust the prices there. And obviously all Friday, Saturdays are marked with the green background because those are generally the high occupancy days in any market. So once I have spent like 5 minutes of my time looking at this data, I'll switch to revenue outlook to assess how market demand is. Now, in this for this demo properties with 63 rooms in total, I see pretty much every day it is filling up well. Like it is in range of high 50s to low 60s, and occupancy is pretty much above 80 to 90%, which tells me demand in this market is reasonably high. And also, I will take a look at like same days pickup. We can see like same day pickups are also high. So I want to make sure like I'm not selling all the rooms in too much advance and leaving out some of the rooms to sell on very last day because most of the time same day pickups have much higher ADR than the average ADR that we get for booking the rooms in advance. So after getting this kind of high level insights, I'll switch to pickup and cancellation report, which is, in my opinion, the most important of all three. This report tells me how future demands look like. So this will give me data for the future from tomorrow onwards and how rooms are sold, what pickup looks like in last 1 day and what pickups look like in last 3 days. We also provide 7 days pickup, but for this property, because we did not have forecast report scheduled properly, we did not receive data for one of the day and we see dash here. So when I am on this report, I can take a look at like how demand looks like for the future. For example, here I can see demand is kind of tapering down because in last 1 day I had more cancellation than the reservations. So effectively I am losing revenue. So immediately I need to take a look at like how my pricing looks like. So the first column is always your property room rates and rest four are your competitors. So I can say like, I have room set too high, room nightly rate set too high compared to my competitors, and that might be the cause of this decline. So immediately I need to adjust my room rates to get my fair share in the market and not left out with too many vacant rooms for that business days. We also provide idea about like how we also mention here all the events that are defined in event calendar so that in this view also event days are in your radar, and if anything is going crazy you can immediately take an action. One of the other thing that can be derived using this view is like how your rooms are filling up for consecutive days. Because in some high demand market, sometimes it happens like your Friday, Saturdays are filling up very quickly, but your Sundays are not filling up that well. So during the high demand market and scenarios, you can also using this view define your length of stay strategies. Like if you know like demand is high, you can set length of stay like minimum 3 days so that any or minimum 2 days so that anyone who is booking room for Saturday uh, is also booking for your Sunday to cover some of the days for the Sunday. So in other terms, you are attracting clients who are actually wanting to stay longer rather than filling up room too fast for the clients who are wanting to stay only 1 or 2 days in high demand market. So these kind of strategies can be easily derived through all the calculation that HelloGM does it for you automatically. And this pickup and cancellation report, we also provide offline by setting up email list. For any user, we can turn on like pickup report flag here in the HelloGM, which will send out same exact report offline in the email every time we receive forecast report. So I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to cover. One thing that I would like to highlight here is like, especially the star reports, which are very important to derive whether you are getting your fair share or not. So I have prepared one slide with some of the examples that you want to see and that you don't want to see. For example, these are two scenarios that you don't want to see in the star reports. Here you can see like, this particular property has occupancy index of 109, while ADR is 86 and RevPAR is 94, which means that this property is getting more than its fair share in terms of occupancy, but only by compromising on ADR. So you don't really want to see this because at the end of day, to get optimum revenue and maximizing profits, you don't want to compromise on one of the KPI to achieve other. Similarly, here we are compromising on occupancy, but getting good ADR, which is also not a good sign because end of day, in attempt to get better nightly rate, you are losing too much on the occupancy. You actually in your star report want to see something like this, like everything growing up together. So here in this example, you can see everything is like 99%, pretty close to 100% in terms of occupancy, ADR, and RevPAR. So that kind of insight is quickly presented here in charts for you. And of course, you can toggle between charts and data based on your convenience. Charts work better for me, so I always focus on charts. So I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to give high level idea on RMS, and I would like to open it up now for questions session.
That was amazing, Viral. Thank you so much. I do have a question to start us off here in case Jim and Cameron or anyone else have questions. Go ahead and think on it or just drop your question right into the chat. So, Viral, we have owners, operators, and executives among our subscriber base. How frequently would you recommend they monitor the revenue management system here?
So in my opinion, it should be done daily. So my idea of revenue management is not doing whole lot of thing less frequently, rather do small things more frequently. It is observed that like, just 2 or 3 top level strategies doing more frequently helps you achieve maximum growth. For example, dynamic pricing that we covered here, length of stay that we covered here, and channel management. Just these three top strategies, if done every day, helps you achieve maximum growth. You don't have to worry about, other 4 or 5 different strategies doing it daily basis. Because they do require a lot of time. For example, targeting a lot of tools or targeting a lot of corporate business, trying to spend too much on marketing to get direct reservations. All those strategies do not have to be performed on daily basis. but these three top level strategies should be done every day.
Wow, excellent. I like your approach to that a lot. Do things more frequently, but for shorter amount of time. I have one more question here. So some of our attendees are very well versed in the RMS, so kudos to anyone looking to maximize your utility here today. Are there any tips or best practices that you recommend for using our RMS module?
Yes, so there are few things for any tool to work effectively. It needs data. So tips from my end or best practices are making sure all your reports are scheduled properly to come to HelloGM. uh, Review your competitors, because sometimes in the star reports, I have seen many clients who set up star reports once and then they never pay attention to who all are considered as their competitors in the star reports. Review star reports occasionally and make sure your competitors are listed properly there. Also ensure your competitors are listed properly in HelloGM. I put too much stress on the books report, because that gives you an idea about how your property, how your internal parameters look like. Because excluding everything outside, everything external is beyond your control, but anything that is internal is under your control. So you want to make sure your on the books reports are scheduled properly to come with 365 days of view to HelloGM, so that HelloGM can continuously crunch the data and derive insights out of it for you. Uh, and obviously, as I mentioned, like, we our idea or our approach for revenue management is doing it more often, especially the important strategies. So in my opinion, spending like 10 to 15 minutes every day on these three section of HelloGM will help you a lot in seeing upside as soon as in few months.
That's excellent. Great job, Viral. Do we have any other questions from attendees here today?
And of course, if you don't have question now, and if you have offline, please don't hesitate to just raise it and drop it to our support team. We are always there to help you. We believe our growth is in your growth. So anytime, if you have any question on any of these modules, feel free to drop a note.
That's excellent. And if anyone watching either the webinar live today or the recording of, if you are interested in trying out the RMS module by HelloGM or adding it to your plan, go ahead and email support@hellogm.com and our team members will help you get that added to your plan. I think that concludes our webinar for today, Viral. Great job.
Thank you, everyone, and have happy holidays and great time with your family. Hopefully, we will see you back again in New Year.
Yes. Happy holidays and happy new year, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.